national ladies champion. Congratulations, Karen.
Thank you so much.
Okay, how was it this week? Where were you at on the leaderboard coming into today, and what was it that made you get to the top of the leaderboard today?
Yeah, I hadn't personally put together the perfect round yet the first 3 days. Coming into today, I was 4 back of Desi, and my mindset going in was not to try to focus on score or placement, but just try to go do my job, work on my process, and execute.
The targets, talking about like yellow, the red, and the orange course were, I'm not going to say they were easy, but they weren't like super tough. But the green course was definitely a separator. What did you think of the targets on the green course?
I enjoyed them. The tower station was definitely pretty difficult with the speed and the distance, and also not a whole bunch of face to look at. But I would say that distance and speed of the target would be your biggest change between the green course and the other 3. But personally, like I said, I did enjoy the green course. It was a challenge, and you got to give some targets a little bit of lead, which was fun.
Well, 2024 has been very graceful to you. World FITASC Ladies Champion and now National Ladies Champion. What's next on the bucket list for you?
Just to continue to compete at a high level, compete against the men, and overall, and just continue to elevate the game and work on it.
I would say you ladies are very close to knocking on the door of the men. I mean, looking at the scores, you're right there. I want to go over to Miss Grace Corselli, runner-up for the ladies. Grace, you were kind of like, and I don't want to ever say the word unknown, but like you weren't talked about a whole lot, and then all of a sudden, I mean, come Thursday, it's like, whoa, look at these numbers she's turning. Have you put a lot of preparation coming into this, or was it something you just cleared your mind and let it eat?
I would say I've done a lot of competing collegiately. I go to Lindenwood. I'm a junior this year, so I have been doing a lot of competing, and I think this was just the first time in a long time that my head is clear, and I've really been focusing on my mental game and taking mental classes, so I feel like that made a big difference.
Yeah. Were you watching the leaderboard, or are you trying to keep your eyes off the score chaser when you're competing?
No, it's really funny. So like my family, nobody talks about scores. My brother, my friends, everybody knows don't. So I had no idea until they told me go to the first station, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is no joke.
Yeah.
So I had no idea going in, but I was like all of a sudden super nervous, and it was such a great experience. It was so fun.
Yeah. Is this your first year on the Super Squad?
No, this is
Squad?
not.
Okay.
But it's definitely my first time being this close to the top. So
That's awesome. We're going to bounce over to Anthony Matarese, and everyone listen, the reason why we're going so fast is all of these people that are sitting here have shoot-offs they got to get to. So we didn't open up the show like we normally do. Anthony, for you, you've won this event before, past national and world champion. Coming into this event, I mean, we all know how busy you are with your schedule. Did you have the time to put in the preparation you wanted, or did you feel like you were a little bit of an underdog coming in?
Yeah, so I'm shooting by far the best I've ever shot in my life this whole year. And the mistake I made coming into this tournament is I hadn't shot a tournament since the U.S. Open. And I just did not execute mentally very well. I shot pretty well today on the last day. Just couldn't get the balance between, not trying hard. I couldn't get my right flow in my routine. I couldn't get the balance between, trying too hard, not trying hard enough. I literally did not see a target on the whole week that I had even one iota of doubt that I would miss, including the tower today, which I crushed the first pair. There was not a single bird I was even slightly nervous about in the whole weekend, but I just didn't execute well. The first day I shot 71 and missed the last bird 4 times. So mentally, and it wasn't even nervous because it was just the balance between, keeping the right flow within my routine. So I practiced, for the last month, probably, 500 rounds to 500 to 1,000 rounds a week for, 3 or 4 weeks. But, that helped me on the targets, but it did not help me keep my mind in the right spot. I mean, I had some great rounds throughout the week. I shot 100 in the super sporting, shot decent scores across all the events, but I was never firing on all 4 cylinders. I mean, Brandon's score, to beat that, you have to read the birds correct and execute correct mentally, and I just wasn't in a position to, I didn't realize that, coming in. I thought I would be in better shape than I was, and then once I got here, I just never could get quite in quite in the right space. I mean, and personally, I don't, this is no disrespect to anyone,
right,
but personally, I feel like my performance was very poor over the 4 days. Today was good, but other than that, because I never misjudged a bird, I never, I didn't have any instances, where the targets or the reading of the clay was the actual problem. It was keeping my mind in the right spot for, 4 pairs was the problem all week.
Well, one last question, we'll let you go because I see they're flagging you to go to your shoot-off. On Thursday when we were in here, we were looking at the scoreboards or, the leaderboards and stuff, and you weren't quite up there, and then all of a sudden you kind of flashed up on Friday. Well, was there a mental change or something from Thursday to Friday, or just you were able to perform better on Friday, or what was the change?
No, I mean, I just shot steady and people shot unsteady, right? So I shot 71, 71, and finally the people that had a bad day got down below me, and I shot only those scores based upon my, technical abilities, in my reading the birds, not based upon how good I did in my mind, because I missed 4 birds each day because my mind was in the wrong spot, So today I just finally got my mind to a little bit better position and, moved up the board a little bit.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, look, you clicked a U.S. Open win off this year. That's something to always be proud of. We know you're a champion. We know you will be back in here discussing this again next year. So congratulations to Anthony. We're going to let you get out of here and get to your shoot off. Same way with you, Karen. I know you got to get going. But thank you both for joining us. Grace, if you don't have a shoot off, if you want to stick around with us, you're more than welcome to. We'd love to ask you some more questions.
Thank you for having us.
All right.
Thanks guys.
Appreciate it very much.
And we're back.
All right.
A little bit of chaos here just because of literally just getting off the course, having to run back in here, and then everybody getting here and then being told they got to go shoot off.
I know. And listen, we've got more coming, okay? I know Brandon Powell, your national champion. He's going to be joining us. Turner Parcells is also going to come back after a shoot off. Desi Edmonds, who rounded out the ladies' podium, she's coming in here in a little bit. In the meantime, we are back with Grace Corselli, and we have Miss Haley Satterwhite joining us. I really wanted to have Haley sit down with us. She helped us a ton this weekend, gathering up people. I mean, look, I think Sean puts it best, Haley. It's like herding cats.
It's like herding cats that are drunk.
Well, they want to celebrate. They've worked hard all week, and now it's time to go
and
party,
they have families and stuff like that all want to talk to them and get a piece of their person.
Yeah, well, like I called you, Grace, and you're like, yeah. And I'm like, we need you for a press conference. She's like, oh my gosh, okay. So, but it's tough, isn't it, Grace? Because you've done good. You want to go celebrate, and it's like you're getting pulled in this direction. You got these clowns in here wanting to put you on camera. So, Grace.
Well, there's one clown.
I know he's over there behind the monitors. You can tell by the size of his head. So, Grace, talk about your preparation coming into this event. I know you said you've been shooting a lot of tournaments and stuff. Was there anything you changed in your training leading into this year's Nationals?
I want to say a big difference is I did take some lessons from Anthony, and they really, really helped. I also did mental training with Lenny Basham, and read all with winning in mind, read his books. And this year I feel like it's my junior year at school, and I feel like there wasn't any pressure to prove myself or do anything.
Right.
It was just I went in with just look at every bird, process, don't be outcome oriented. And just like I said, I've been competing a lot on the ACUI circuit here and there. So just coming into this, I was like, just look at every bird. And like I told you, I had no idea my standings going into today.
Really?
So when I walked up today and I saw everything,
That's
and
awesome.
I saw everything, I was a big surprise. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so
I
exciting.
feel like there's too many control freaks out there to be able to do that.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's... What about you, Haley? Do you look in a multiple day event? You always
100%.
Look. Do you really?
I have to.
Yeah. See,
I can't not know. You just blew my mind. It's like the people who don't know like the gender of their baby before they have it. I'm like, how do you do this? But yeah, no.
That's awesome.
incredible.
Hey, everyone that's watching, if you have questions for these two young ladies, please write to us in the chat room. We'd be more than happy to answer your questions, or at least get the ladies here to answer your questions. So keep that in mind. If you got something that pops in your head, please write to us. David, what do you think, man? I mean, you shot pretty well here finishing up. What do you think about these ladies just I mean, lighten it up.
Well, first off, thinking is not my strong suit. But
It's all coming out live. So
is this a Scoops episode or is this a?
no, yeah. I mean, it could be. You're forming it that way. So.
No, I think that I think the targets were really challenging. And looking at the scores, I mean, everybody just did really well. First off, Grace, I would say that's pretty cool. Everything you're talking about, like going into let me get the camera. Change the camera. Okay, yeah. Going into this, and when I how old are you? You said a junior.
20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
So
gosh.
So going back, and how long did you say you've been shooting, or did you not say that?
Since my sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
So a little 5 years.
How did you start?
Incredible.
Yeah, I used to be a hunter. I grew up hunting with my dad, brother, and grandpa, and I wanted to get better at my wing shooting. So I got into SoCal Top Guns. He had the Station 1 dedicated to him, Jim Porter. Started with him, got into competing, and then once I graduated high school, I decided I want to continue my career into college. And I won HOA Ladies Champion at ACUI this year, so that was
cool.
a big accomplishment this year. And coming up and doing this is just such an amazing opportunity.
That's pretty awesome.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
good for you. So, well, first off, I'd have to say, growing up in, where you're from in California, there's not, well, actually, there are some pretty amazing gun clubs in California.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, actually, the owner just opened up a club about 15 minutes from my house in Arkansas. But it's cool to hear, that, you started working with Anthony a little bit, got into the Lanny Basham stuff. And I'd have a question for you. It'd be like, how conscious are you of, if you just read the book, it's probably been about 15 years since I read the book, with Winning in Mind by Lanny. And I think he talks about like a triad of, right? It's, what are the three things? There's self-image.
Yeah, I was
The-
saying, I
how
probably
well
couldn't
did
tell
you read
off the-
this
off
book,
the-
Grace?
I'd say it's been about a year since
Okay.
I've read it, but I've read it about 3 times. I listened to it on audiobook, but it's more about just the concept that everything has to be well balanced.
Yes,
what you
balance.
think you can do, your image of yourself, and I
Yes.
feel like that was a big, and believing you can do it. And when I was younger, I had lessons with Dan, and it wasn't Dan Carlisle, and it wasn't until I was older that he really instilled in me that it's like you need to believe that you can do it. And I feel like
Yes.
that was one of those things that I lacked confidence, and it was just like you need to have the ability, you need to believe you can do it, and then
That balance of the whatever those three things are, whatever Lanny calls them. For me, what it is like my presence, my like expectations, and then my actual performance. And if you don't have that, it's crazy how fast you can get off track. And I think that being somebody who teaches the game for a job. And every day I have people come for lessons who think that the thing that they need to work on is something mechanical or something mental. And when in reality, almost always the easiest thing for people to get the most amount of out of their game with the least amount of effort is really just gaining your own self-awareness of how you think and who you are and how you handle situations, and to bring yourself more presence and more balance in everything, because it's incredible how much that actually affects the round. So my question would be, like, as you're out there shooting, this may be a hard question. I said thinking is not my strong suit, so I only have to talk it out to ask the question. But how much are you going back and forth between your conscious thought being on exactly what it is that you're doing in that moment, and then jumping forward a little bit and thinking about, I just found out that I'm in this position and this is what it would be like to win. That's so exciting. Or I hope I don't mess it up. That's scary. And then also leaving the present and going backwards in time and thinking a little bit about, like, allowing good experiences that you just had on hard stations to give you some momentum, or trying to fight bad ones and not let them affect you? Or do you feel like you're always very, very present and you're not really dealing with that?
Well, first and foremost, I feel like I put a lot of extra effort into the game that probably other people every day that I'm not shooting. I do gun mounts, laser mounts, even when I'm at school. I write in a journal. I do a lot of the extra stuff that not a lot of other people may do. And I feel like that's made a big difference. And the one thing that Anthony said is, outside of the box, you want to be the smartest person on the course, break point, hold point, what is the target doing? But as soon as you step in to the cage, you want to be the dumbest person on the course. And that really, stuck with me, because it's like you have your plan, but as soon as you step into that box, all of your focus, all of your everything, you need to be visually disciplined. And
Yes.
I feel like I said, it made a big difference having my lesson with Anthony especially, and just being visually disciplined and looking at every target. And there's nothing else. Once you step into that cage, there is nothing else other than looking at that target. I don't know. Did that answer your question?
No, it does. And so I guess I'd have a follow-up question for you, which would be, because you're right with everything that you just said, but you don't strike me like somebody who is very stupid. So I would have a second question for you, which would be, how easy for you is it to actually be able to singularly and linearly just think about looking at the target and not allow any other thoughts to get in the way of pulling your attention from doing that?
I would probably say I pick an edge, or if I feel like I'm really struggling, like when the target's out there, it's right edge, or see it, like reminding myself over and over and over, and just really keeping a clear mind really helps me. But like I said, I do all my planning outside of the box, and when I step in, it's just I need to be process oriented. If I miss the target, it's not nothing negative. I don't suck. I don't be positive. Okay, why did I miss that target? What can I do to fix it? More lead, less lead. It's about being in the process and not the outcome for me,
Very
I feel.
cool. Yeah. And is that easy for you or challenging?
I feel like on good days it is. Everybody has those struggle days, but that's what's important to stay in the process,
Yes.
because if you're outcome oriented and you're shooting poorly, then you're outcome oriented. If you
Yes.
stay in the process, even when you're shooting poorly, it'll linearly help you get better.
You talked about Anthony saying, when you're on the course, you're the smartest person out there, but when you step in the box, you're the dumbest person. That is so hard to shut off the conscious mind, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's impossible. Is it just a lot of routine that helps you get to that spot, or is there certain triggers you use to help get you to that spot? It's hard to find that switch, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
It
What
is,
was it,
yeah.
or what is it for you that helps you do that?
I would say, like I said, I just try to be really process oriented and don't shoot defensively or be afraid to miss, because I feel like where you get really in your head is because you're afraid to miss. Once you're taken away from being afraid to miss or being outcome oriented, and you're just having fun, which I know is hard to do, and it's taken me time. And like I said, having mental lessons and talking to Anthony has helped me how to be process oriented, because if you're not afraid to miss and every time you miss, okay, what was the thing that made me miss? Really helps. I don't know if that answers your question, but
it does.
don't be afraid to miss. Shoot for the fences. bat for the fences.
We've
Thank
got
you.
we've
That's
got
awesome.
three questions for you, Grace, on the Q&A. The first one's from somebody named Casper. It says, "How?" I wonder if he's friendly.
Jeez.
Wow.
Wow.
And we went there, guys. And we went there.
The cheesiness comes out, doesn't it, Haley?
Yeah.
Every time.
Right?
The question is, how has Lindenwood affected your shooting?
Oh, that's a good question.
What a great question. Really is.
Because she can say anything negative, guys.
Well, now she can.
I think when I first got to school, it was very overwhelming, trying to balance, the social life, the school life, and the party life. I had a lot of fun. It was really fun to be let off the leash for the first time. But then I had to lock in and understand that there's three main disciplines: trap, skeet, and sporting. So I feel like it really did help my mental game. I ran my first 100 in skeet this year.
Oh, nice.
I was very excited. But it's all come down to the mental game, and I feel that trap and skeet has really helped my sporting game as well. So
how do you find that do you feel like partitioning your attention in different disciplines in that way, is there any rebound period after that, or are you able to just like very quickly switch from focusing on one thing to the next thing, and then throw your school in the mix in that too?
Well, my professors are pretty lenient. Like, I got excused for this whole week for classes, and they were super helpful, and you know I'll Zoom with my professors if need be. But it is definitely different shooting trap and skeet, and I'll give it to the trap shooters. It is a difficult game. I feel like they don't get enough attention for shooting those 100 straights. It's definitely a lot more difficult than I thought it would be.
It's a lot different.
It is, but I feel like I have to shoot trap like a trap shooter, shoot skeet like a skeet shooter, and sporting clays like a sporting clay shooter. So yes, you do have to do a little bit of a mental, like, this is a grind, versus in sporting clays, you miss one and it's like, you can still win. But in skeet and trap, when you miss one, it's like real.
Do you find that one of those approaches being pulled into the other game? So, for example, the mental intensity of a game that you can't miss is a thing that translates into a game where you are expected to, and then it actually helps you not, or do you feel like it's not applicable?
I do. I think it helps a lot. I mean, it's made me appreciate sporting clays more, because I feel like trap and skeet is so intense. You have to run the 100. You have to shoot those big. Here, it's just like, this is my game. This is what I love to do. And it just, when it's this time to shoot sporting clays, I can relax and just focus on the target.
That's awesome. What's the other question, David?
The other question is, how does this trophy rank on your list? Better than the ACUI ring? Question mark. Not a statement.
Wow, that's kind of tough to answer, huh?
I know.
There was a lot of work that went into ACUI. I mean, a lot of hard work, effort. The whole mental training and the whole lessons with Anthony was geared towards ACUI and me winning ACUI. And that was just such a big, I really came to this shoot with the tools that I had learned. I feel like compared to ACUI, I didn't train as hard. I trained really hard, so it just, the fruits of your labor really, really showed. Not saying I didn't work hard for the shoot, because I definitely have. But, and especially winning with my teammates and my family, and rushing to the field and tying with Texas A&M, going into a shoot-off, it was just such a ball of nerves. But I think this is a big accomplishment for me, and I think they rank about the same.
Very good.
That's awesome. Well, Haley, do you have any questions for Gracie?
I don't know. Where did you come from, girl? Like, this is awesome. I'm loving this. Like, my whole thing is women shooters and women in male disciplined industries and stuff like that. And I haven't found out. I need you in my life. This is amazing. I feel like even sitting here listening to you has been so insightful for my own shooting. I'm gonna take, because I have that book at home, haven't gotten a chance to read it, throwing it on my list.
Can you read?
Very funny.
Oh, wow.
That's comical coming from you.
Shots fired.
That is comical coming from you. Yes, I'm blonde. Naturally.
Oh, boy.
It seeps in sometimes.
Yeah, there you go.
We set Grace down here, and then David, you didn't know David was going to give you an exam, did you?
It's all right. It's all right. So it's good. Say, even with the book, I was sitting in one of my classes, and one of the boys on the archery team was sitting next to me, and I look over, and he's reading the book too, and I went, oh my gosh, what
did you fill out the journal and do all the stuff with it and stuff that goes along with it?
I mean, I'm just at the point in the game that it comes down to one target, two targets, anything to make a difference. But I just thought it was interesting that someone who shoots archery, is also reading this book about shooting, and helps him in his
sport. It just transfers across so many different disciplines.
And in life, I am so much more positive, and so much more. Whenever I get nervous, it's like, gosh, how lucky am I to be here and feel this way?
Cool. Yeah. That's
much
so cool.
more positive outlook has changed the book has changed my life, not only in shooting, but just outside of shooting as well.
That's
How
awesome.
proud are your parents?
Super
Have you
proud.
got a chance to talk to them yet?
Yeah, my brother was crying on the course, and my parents were crying.
How old is your brother?
18.
Wow.
That's
Don't
cool.
worry, we won't tell anybody. Just however
We'll
many
just
people
tell
are-
everybody,
We'll
yeah.
just, however many
We
people are
won't tell
watching
anybody,
this
but we're on a
podcast.
live podcast.
Yeah,
so,
they were super happy because I feel like it's a together. They really help and support me. So it was a big accomplishment. Like I said, same as ACUI. I feel the same way. I feel like there's been a lot of work and dedication. So I'm just super happy to be here.
That's awesome. I love that.
That is so cool. David, we any more questions coming in right now?
What does DT stand for? Grace by
Oh
Anonymous.
goodness! I know these are my teammates on the server now. Detachable triggers, Jake Dean. That's what it means.
Detachable.
You knew it was Jake.
You
Dean.
knew it was Jake.
Love
Oh
it.
yes.
Can't be sneaky, Jake. That's pretty funny. Is that is he helping you study for an exam or something?
No.
What are you majoring in anyway?
Public health with a minor in pre-nursing.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Let's talk about this for a second. So, you just finished ladies runner-up at the national championship. Huge accomplishment. What's next on the bucket list for Grace in sporting clays?
I would have to say, like I said, right now, ACUI, would be a big one, and I would like to go and, like I said, do it again and come in first, be back here and come in first this year. And like Karen said, I'd like to compete with the men, and I already do at the collegiate level, but I would like to at the national level as well.
Yeah, and I know, talking to both of you before weeks previously, both of you have that goal of it's not just the ladies you want to beat. You want to beat everybody.
Of course.
How close do you think we are to seeing that?
I think, honestly, I just think the pool of men is bigger than the pool of women. If you take 100 men and 100 women and train them the same, I feel like we would be a lot closer.
Yeah.
But in shooting sports especially, I feel like we're pretty close, and every year we get and closer.
Yeah,
So-
And there's more and more each year.
Exactly.
Yeah, this sport started out predominantly, dominated by men. But more and more ladies are coming in the sport, which I think is awesome. And, of course, the kids, how big SCTP is. You're not too far removed from SCTP. So
I know.
I think it's a matter of
Had
time.
it with these children.
But I do think
If I get beat by another 12-year-old, I'm going to lose my mind.
I watch. You know what? I tell you what. I chased. So Sean chased David around, and I chased Chad around filming for the final rotation for the pro squad. And there was 2 young kids on Chad's squad, and I could not believe how well they were shooting those targets. I mean, those were the toughest targets, of all the main, and I was blown away. I mean, and how fast they would take them. I mean, you could say eyes, reflexes, whatever, but you have to have connection to the target to break those things out there. And how fast they can connect, and just I was blown away. And I think the future of this sport's in some pretty good hands, really. I mean, with both of you ladies included, you're way younger than I am, and David's not too far from me. So we're going to be out of here, and it's going to be on you.
I'm like, wait a second. Whoa, I'm close to David, too, which is not that easy.
Well, I was trying to be nice to y'all and give him an insult, so I guess that backfired. But no, I mean, seriously, I think it's a matter of time. I've been saying it for a long time. I think it's going to happen. The ladies are going to knock off the men, and it might happen at a regional first before it happens at a national or something like that. But I think it's coming.
Yeah.
So you ladies keep charging, for sure.
That's the goal. That's the idea. And like I said, hopefully when I graduate college and finish nursing school, I'll be able to come and hit the ground running hard, because right now it's kind of hard to be able to balance them all with school and shooting collegiately on top of the NSCA event. So I'm really looking forward to the future of the sport.
Well, we're going to do something real quick before we let you go. You and Hilly both. We're going to flip-flop it a little bit. Do either one of you have a question for Big Head over there?
Oh, gosh.
Because he's a coach. He's a pro shooter. Do either one of you have a question for him?
Be careful when you ask questions and I open my mouth. It goes on for a long time.
Just you have to. We're gonna put you on
I'm like,
2
Grace,
minutes.
do you have somewhere to be?
Yeah. No. David
just
gets a
kidding.
2-minute shot clock on these answers.
Oh, there you go. I like
Yeah.
that. We should incorporate a shot clock that
2-minute
pops
shot
up on
clock.
the screen. That would be great.
Yes, it'd make
We
David
should
take
call it
notes.
the David shot clock.
That would be awesome. The Radulovich shot clock.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
I
Radula,
like this
the
idea.
Radula clock.
Radula clock.
The Radula clock.
Technically, every clock out there on the course that has a 20-second shot clock is
Is the-
because of me.
is the
so
Radula
it should
clock.
be called
It
that.
is.
So, that you can all thank me for that.
What about you, Haley? Do you have a question for me when we go to Grace? Do you have a question?
Mike, Grace, you go first.
Oh, I was going to say, if you had one piece of advice for me or for anyone else, I feel like I'm really starting out in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give?
Do you want the advice in through the filter or lens of like your performance or a career, or what would you like it in?
Shot clock, Radulovic.
I'm trying to make it to where my answer actually fits within the window by narrowing down the avenue that I can take to answer it.
Jesus. Okay, you're down to 30 seconds, bro.
So are you looking? So what would be the best? Like, in order to shoot well? Yeah.
In order to shoot well and to shoot consistently well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say the best advice. This thing is like crooked. The best advice I can give you is that I can tell that the way that you think about things and the way that you've compartmentalized your understanding of the game and your ability to associate different aspects of it to make sense of it in your own head, to be your own thing while you're out there, even though you've only been shooting for a little while, that you have a very good understanding of how, basically, I'll do the shot clock answer. There's not a surprise that you're sitting where you are. The best thing that you can do is understand that at all times, that presence and balance thing, the further and deeper into a career in anything, in life, in a game, in nursing, that you get, the more important that balance and presence and self-awareness becomes, to be a focal point and an anchor for everything that you're doing, and a filter for every decision that you make. And so you can filter that into shooting and think of it this way, that the more that you go down that road and the better that you get and the more that you win, it's going to be a little bit of like a paradigm shift of perspective, where it's going to turn into something that becomes an expectation in your own head, as opposed to a not a surprise, but whatever emotion you would attach the way you feel right now, because it's not a surprise. It's it's deserved, and you feel like you understand why it happened because you know the work that you put in. But it will be very easy to allow it to change into an expectation, and you'll feel that emotion before it starts. And that will shift everything that you're doing. It completely changes your filter for why you're out there, why you're doing what you're doing, and everything becomes jumping ahead into the future. And it's very easy for any human to do that. And if you're aware of the fact that that is intuitive in nature to do, and you maintain that balance, and when that starts to happen, you can pull back and say, I'm not going to let that happen, then that is the only way and the best way to maintain consistent, steady improvement as you progress. Because most people, once they start to win big and they realize that they can, then they start to try. And just avoid that.
Haley, how many minutes past the 2 minutes?
That was That was very long past.
Okay.
That was long past.
Well, Haley, do you have a question for?
I have one, and I think this is going to relate to a lot of our viewers too. Someone with limited resources. Like, I'm in that age where my parents aren't paying for my stuff anymore, but I'm also not older, retired, have my own company, something like that, with bukus of money just lying in my couch cushions. Limited resources. What would you spend your limited resources on to improve the fastest or to improve the most? Like, I know, because I get that question all the time, should I buy a $10,000 gun? Should I, just go out and practice? Should I spend all my money on lessons?
Yeah.
Like, what would you think is the best avenue to go down, or is it a multitude of different avenues?
That's I think my answer to that question is going to seem highly biased because of what I do. But for real, the best answer is to spend the money that you have with a coach that you connect to. And the reason for that is because you're not paying for a lesson. You're paying for a shortcut of all the experience that person has had and all the mistakes that they've made that they can allow you not to have to make. And by just communicating and talking about, the experiences that they went through, the mistakes that they made, the things that they learned, I can tell you, this is my 25th national championship, and I've been doing this for a long time. And where I can get a student to in their understanding of themselves and the game and how to perform well in it, I wish that it took me that short amount of time. And that's not a compliment or like boosting myself up in any way. It's just the fact that everything that somebody that has to learn it at the front end of something, the whole way, every way that they take to learn it is that for me, I took 20 different wrong paths before I found one that worked. And then I went down that one a little while until I did 20 different mistakes and I found another one. And that's how I'm progressing forward in the game. But now any coach knows all the right choices and all those other 20 wrong ones. And they can be like, all right, this is step one. Now to go to this one after you master that. And then you don't have to waste the time, the money, the shells, the years on doing all of that. And every person, every student is completely different and has their own path to make. But I can tell you, being somebody that has 1,600 of them, that although every person is uniquely different as a person and as a competitor in the sport, there are only so many definitive choices you can make in your progress and the process in getting better in the game. And so it's very easy to eliminate mistakes that way.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. David is right. I mean, the only shortcut in this game is a good coach.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's really the only
So
one.
I guess here's a follow-up question then. How do you choose a coach that you quote-unquote connect with?
It's somebody that understands you.
And is it just the way that you shoot a certain way and they aren't trying to mold you to the way they shoot? Or, is it just that, y'all both understand each other and y'all both have like a mutual respect going? And
yeah, that's a good question. The way that I look at it is that it's number one, it's somebody that's willing to listen as much as they talk. So that means I have to do a lot of listening.
Unbelievable amounts, Grace.
But,
Unbelievable
yeah,
amounts.
literally half my lessons are me sitting there just quietly listening. No, but
that's the hardest part of his job.
Yeah, it's the hardest. I have to bring duct tape. But no, I think the way that you pick one is it has to be somebody that's willing to not try to force you into the image that they have of themselves or they have of you, and understands the importance of the fact that if you're really trying, there's different ways of teaching people. If you have somebody like you guys who has the potential to be as good as they want to be, that's a different type of coaching than somebody who either doesn't have that or doesn't want to achieve that and is really just wanting like instruction, and the same person can offer both. But if you're wanting to mold somebody into the best possible version of them, then you have to, as a coach, be willing to allow them to give you equally as much input into your definition of them as you put into that definition yourself. And when you find somebody that can do that, and that means taking something as simple as saying like, oh, I know you're wanting me to do this move, but I don't like the way that feels. Okay, why? Tell me why, and we'll figure out a way to make it better. That's super simple example of it. A more complex example of it is actually understanding your personal psyche and how your mind works and how you deal with emotions and all of these things, because every situation that you'll be in is going to be different. And if your coach is not willing to do that or unable to do that, then it's not going to be somebody that's going to get you as far as you can get. But I would say the least important thing that I think most often becomes wrongly interpreted as the most important thing is, do they shoot the same way that I do? Because, like I said, any person that teaches at the top of the game, they can shoot any way. You know, I think that's the most important thing, and that's hard to find.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So Grace,
try a lot of different stuff then.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna add on to that question, just because I feel like I've been there. I don't have my own range or my own throwers, my own machine. Thing that helped me the most. Yes, a great coach, but I do a lot of gun mounts every day. Do a lot of wear your glasses 30 minutes before you shoot so your eyes adjust. It's throwing a little orange tennis ball to warm up your eyes before you shoot. It's journaling to learn, to look back on. I mean, for me, if you have and all of that costs zero money to give you.
It costs $0 to put in the effort.
And if and it took me a long time to get into that, because I didn't think it made a difference, but I really feel like in the last 6 months I've been giving it my all. But to answer your question, if you want something to better your game that costs zero money, those are the great places to start.
I love it. I love it.
And
I get those questions all the time, because that's part of my thing on Instagram and Facebook and stuff too, is like how to do this as cheap as possible while still maintaining a high level of game and a high level of drive and want to do this game.
Yeah.
I think to add to that, I mean, one of the greatest statements I ever heard was, be the best you can be at everything that takes no talent.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things.
And, standing correctly, correct posture, doesn't take any talent. Like you said, putting your glasses on 30 minutes before you shoot, throwing an orange tennis ball around, getting your eyes adjusted, all those things, gun mounts, working with a laser on your gun in the living room, all of that stuff is stuff you can do and be as good as you possibly can be at it. Doesn't take any talent. But it's so important to have those fundamentals in the game. Now, myself, I need to take a spoonful of my medicine, but
I think everybody does.
I got a bucket in the car.
Yeah.
I got a bucket.
Is it the one Bella eats out of? Yeah, okay.
Probably.
It might be the right size.
Yeah, right. But no,
that's awesome.
It's so awesome. The one last question I have for you, Gracie, is the missing part of our sport is that 20 to 30-year-old range. You get out of college and you got student debt to pay off, and mom and dad aren't paying for anything anymore, and we get them back once they have their career established. Do you think you're going to try and stick with it, even though, I mean, I know it's hard to say right now, but are you going to try your best to keep shooting?
I do.
Okay.
I think so. There's been too much blood, sweat, and tears into the sport not to keep it going, I feel, at this point. And especially now I'm at the point in my game where I feel like I can be competitive. How could you not?
How could you stop?
Right?
How could you stop?
It's hard.
But, well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Really, sincerely appreciate it. David, can we cut to a commercial break? We'll get Big Man back in here. I think he's getting close. Yep, they're getting close to bringing in the shoot-offs are over with, so we're going to bring in
Sure.
Brandon, I hope, and Turner Purcell.
Sure.
And I think Desi's going to join us as well.
Okay.
So,
very cool.
We'll be right back, everyone. Stick with us. Give us just a couple minutes.
Cool.
Great.
Thank you guys very much.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks,
I so appreciate it.
It was awesome having you.
so
Thank
great.
you. Welcome back, everyone. Give us just a few minutes. We're trying to herd the cats, as Sean Alley would put it. They're finishing shoot-offs. I mean, look, Brandon just won the national championship. Everybody and their brother wants to shake his hand and give him a cigar, and rightfully so. But we're trying our best to get him in here, so just bear with us for a few minutes. Sean, let's talk about this for a second. You chased David around. I chased Chad around filming the pro squad for the final rotation. Wow. You and I shot the green course, and then watching these guys up close, I mean, some of the best in the business breaking these targets, it was impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's where you definitely separate the men from the boys, as the saying goes, and the ladies from the girls. So with that said, really, I watched a lot of these targets while filming David. Watched a lot of the other shooters shooting them. Learned a lot in their methods and presentations. Everybody's got a little bit of different style. Some were taking targets earlier, some were taking targets later. But, I think that's what makes it so interesting, because everybody has a different way of reading and interpreting how they attack a bird or a pair of birds. Yeah,
for sure. What gets me is when they get aggressive, how fast they can take a bird.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Now, I got to film on Chad's squad, and it was comprised of all the people that had bought into the pro squad. So there was 2 young shooters on there, and I was blown away at how well these kids can shoot. And we recorded a lot of it too, so hopefully everybody will see it. I know you and I are going to do a scoop segment with David and Chad this week. We might even snag Ben McAnally, because he was in on Chad's squad, and I got a lot of him on camera too. So, but we'll do over at the Dead Pair, we'll do a scoop segment this coming week and show you guys that footage. It's going to be awesome. Back here to the Champions Network, though, we really appreciate you coming and sitting in with us. I know how busy you were.
Yeah, thank you, Sean.
It's all good, guys.
Like I told you on the way up here, man, I was just excited to see you when you got here this week. And I know what you have going on in your personal life. You're so busy, your job and everything else. And for you to spend some time with us, man, it's been awesome.
It's all good, man. It was a nice getaway and an awesome time to spend with you guys. I mean, it was kind of cool hanging out. We all got to room together for the weekend, so that was kind of cool and fun. Ate some good food. Definitely had some fun shooting at targets. Maybe not breaking them, but we shot at them, Jason.
Yeah, you know what? I shot at every single target out there, Sean.
Yes.
Didn't say I broke it.
And I broke every one that I hit.
Right.
So, fair enough.
I still think there were a few that I didn't break that I hit. Probably maybe like 20 of them, I think. However many were the difference between me being one more than Brandon. I think that's exactly how many that I hit that didn't break.
I just knocked holes in them.
No, I definitely hit them, and I think someone was out there loading aluminum birds in there or something.
I'm sure that's exactly what it was.
I think that's exactly what it was. I mean, we have video evidence today.
We do.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll have to put that on the Scoops episode
so
everybody can see themselves.
The Scoops is that David had to shoot aluminum birds.
Jeff Fraser says, geez, quit using the word awesome, Jason. That's an awesome suggestion, Jeff.
That is an awesome suggestion.
But, David, I know we've talked about it over the last 3 days. Here we are on the final day. You had zero preparation coming into this event, and you still shot really well this week. Do you know where you've officially ended up?
No, I have absolutely no idea.
Can you look that up, Sean?
I'm on it right now.
Okay.
I just want to let people know also, if you're watching, that we're basically ad-libbing a little bit until Brandon and and Turner, the other people on the podium, are finishing up shoot-offs right now. So just so you know, you won't have to listen and look at us the rest of the night. Trust us. We're going to eliminate that as much as possible. But yeah, I definitely, it was very. It's hard. I can tell you, like, being the competitor that I am, and knowing how good I can be shooting right now. I tried my best not to literally have expectations not to do well here, because I knew that I would not be able to. If I I don't think people understand the difference between winning a shoot like this and coming here like highly prepared and shooting well but not winning. You can't do anything but think about, focus on, and every decision you make has to be about, will what I'm about to make this decision on allow me to win, or will it not? And so we already got a special guest coming up right now. So
come on in here, girl.
Not being able to make that, I knew that I shouldn't try to to wow. Did you have any shoot-offs?
No.
No?
No, I was wondering.
Oh, there we go. But yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say, long story short, is that I had moments of brilliance and it felt amazing, followed up by moments of an inability to do really much of anything.
Well, just so you know, David, you finished up on a 273.
Okay.
What position is that? Do you know?
He's like 10th. So
10th.
yeah.
Well, to finish 10th in the nation with zero preparation, not even touching the gun snitch at all.
I mean, he's technically tied with Rodney Disbrow and Dominic Grassi. So,
okay.
But yeah, all of them shot a 273. That's still lights out shooting, regardless. So,
well, speaking of lights out shooting, we are joined by the lady that rounded off the podium for the ladies national championship. Congratulations, Desi. I know it's not where you wanted to be. I could tell by the look on your face when I saw you out there. It's not where you wanted to be, but how respectful to be in this position. And we just talked the other night. Forgive me, I don't remember. How many nationals is this for you?
I've only won 2.
You've only won 2, but I mean, how many years you've been
Oh,
coming here?
God.
2.
12 plus.
12
10,
plus years?
Yeah, 10, 12 plus. I don't know.
That's
I haven't
awesome.
kept track of that.
Well, I mean, look at it this way. I mean, we all know Brandon just won. He won last year, but he was bridesmaid for like 5 years. And he'd been coming here for how many years before he won one? So
Yeah.
It happens, right?
Yeah, it's a tough shoot to win.
What do you think the difference is this year as far as competition goes?
I'm not really sure what you're asking, but
Me neither.
Okay, what's the difference in competition
Desi,
this
it's
year
not
from
just you, don't
years
worry.
past? I mean, do you think people are continuously stepping up their game? Did you maybe have a hole in your game or something that kept you? I mean, what do you think it was this year for your placement?
yeah, I mean, well, I think in general, our tour this year, the championship tour, was probably a level harder than what we're used to shooting. I think in general, each tour stop had a pretty serious set of targets.
Yeah.
Not just the open, I think across the board. So with that being said, obviously, you get in a different mindset when you're shooting courses like that versus the courses where, it's kind of the missing out type of thing.
Right.
I'm not really sure exactly what you're asking, but rising tides float all boats is kind of my general statement on that. When shooters get better, it forces other people to get better.
Yeah.
When the target set gets, more technical, or we use that word a little too generally, but when the target set gets more demanding, I think it demands more out of you.
Yeah.
So are people better than they used to be? I can't say that, right?
Right.
But yeah, I think the scores are tighter maybe than they ever were.
Okay.
Well, and speaking of that, I'm looking at the list right now, and right nipping at your heels immediately after you is both Gianna Santo and Amber Brown.
Yeah.
Shot a 265.
Oh my gosh, those girls shot great today. I'm so
yeah,
proud of them.
Young up-and-comers and
Yes.
knocking on the door.
Yeah, so I feel like the score, the shooters have gotten tighter in terms of that. But I mean, I can't say, we're shooting better now than we were 10 years ago. It's just different. It's apples and oranges.
Well, and I don't know how to answer this or ask this question, but let's start with this. Zach, FETASC world champion. He checked it off the bucket list.
Yep.
But he wasn't quite where we expected him or we thought we would see him in the leaderboard. Was it maybe a little bit too much time off, do you think? Or was it preparation, or was it Zach, not feeling it this weekend? I mean, what do you think?
That's hard for me to pinpoint exactly. It wasn't necessarily lack of preparation, or I think everybody, when they shoot long enough, they realize there's an ebb and flow to their shooting.
Yeah.
The most challenging part is timing those, right? Is timing them at the right moments. The Worlds, the U.S. Open, the Nationals. You're going to ebb and flow in your game. And you can't put your finger on one thing. It's never one exact thing. It's a myriad of different things. Mindset, or what's going on in your life, or how you feel. It's a combination of those things. So in the perfect world, right, we time those highs when we want them most, right? For Zach, that was the World FETASC. That was what he was craving that year, and has been. And it worked out for him there.
Yeah.
Maybe, he's just not as hungry for this one, and that's an assumption. I can't say that.
Sure.
That's what he thinks.
Oh,
but
you're dropping scoops on us.
I mean, it's been a long year. It's been, and we've traveled a lot, so it can be a little grueling. But again, I think it's an ebb and flow, and at the end of the day, you're trying to make sure that you're timing those highs at the right moment.
Yeah, and that's funny you say it's been a long year. We missed y'all at the Ohio State shoot this year, but I had talked to a couple of pros, and because we were kind of scratching our head. Sean and I are both on the USCA board, and we're scratching our head. It's like, why didn't more people come over after the U.S. Open? Because it was weekend before, and I talked to a couple of them, and they're like, look, we had 2 world championships in this country this year on top of an already busy schedule. It seems like there's more and more big blast shoots that are happening in addition to the regionals, the U.S. Open, and then you have 2 world championships. Everybody's tired.
Right.
Everybody's just wrung out. So, but.
Except one person.
Well, never mind. We're not going to go there.
What do you mean?
Are you talking about you?
No, Brandon.
Oh, yeah.
But Brandon's a machine.
Jason, I know I have a big head, but I don't have to worm myself into every conversation.
And everybody always, obviously he's shooting fantastic, so obviously that's what the topic of this conversation is going to be about. I think it really lends itself to, just his personality and what he feeds off of. And he likes shooting emotionally.
Yeah.
So when the emotions get high, it feeds into that, which that's not a negative in any way. It's just who he is and how he works. Everybody works a little differently. So,
well,
I have a question off of that, because I would 100% agree with you, Desi, and like every person is completely different in what fuels them. And I think though sometimes it's hard to self-identify what that thing is.
Yeah.
Do you think that you could answer that question for yourself?
No, to be honest, I don't think I could.
Yeah.
It depends on the time.
Yeah.
At certain moments, I feel like I feed off of, emotion better than I do at other times. And at certain moments, I feel like it's more the preparation that I feed off of than the actual competition of the moment. I think at the end of the day, we can all agree that we're all competitive people.
Yeah.
Right? If we weren't, we'd be shooting charity events and having a great all time.
Yeah.
So I think that is a common trend among all of us. To what level you feed off of that competition, I think depends on experience. And I think depends on, self-awareness, which at the end of the day, none of us have perfected. We're always learning it, and it changes, when you first start shooting, and then when you get into your middle classes, and then when you get into the upper echelons of shooting and the pro classes, those things are always evolving and changing, right? What you wanted 2 years ago is the same thing maybe you want now.
Right.
So you're constantly trying to learn how to feed off of that, and that's in as a whole. Now let's break it down into a micro detail, and let's say, okay, today you have to shoot this course.
Yeah.
And
right.
you have to put it into action. So.
Yeah, you got to figure it all out right now.
Yeah, right now, right this second.
Do you think that because this may come across with the camera just wildly went out of focus on you. I'm gonna switch. With me being any one of the pros other than Brandon saying this, it might come across wrong, but I don't mean it that way. I think people tend to forget that pretty much every one of us has had, I would say not necessarily as in terms of across the board on every shoot that they go to win, but every pro has gone through a period of time where they have just dominated. Whatever whether it be a 1 year stretch or 2 year stretch, some of the guys, and you, Desi, it was like freaking.
It was a little while ago.
Well, same for me. You and I kind of hit it at the same time a little bit, but for you, it was a very, very long time, not ago, but like a long period of time, and I think that it's not like a you hit it and then you're never going to get it again. It comes back. But that's a thing that I try to think about a lot, because obviously we all kind of want to know, well, how do we get that to happen again? And one of the things that I've kind of arrived on a little bit is answering being able to answer the question, of what it is that, basically we can all define right now what it is that's motivating Brandon to shoot well and to win everything. And it quite possibly could have been, let's say 7 years ago that Brandon could not have defined that for himself. And that's why every time he went to a shoot, he could never close on a Sunday. And I think right now he's very aware of what it is that he needs to do and what type of emotional state he needs to be in to be at his best. Do you feel like when you go through the ebbs and flows of everything, which I think is a beautiful way to put it, that when you're in, what's the high point, the flow? Or is it the ebb?
Yeah, I don't know. Up and down.
Yeah, in the ups and downs. Do you feel like when you're in the ups that you have a better understanding of what it is that, like a very focused and linear focus set on what it is that you're trying to accomplish and what you're wanting out of the game and what you need to do to win, and then in the times when you get into the lows that you almost feel like you're being pulled in so many other directions that it's hard to like hit one and just go into it?
That was a really complicated question, guys. Dave. Again, Dave, I'm not going to what you're asking.
So do you basically...
Let me rephrase the question, because I know where he's going with this. And a perfect example of this, your ebb and flow, is Zach. For 5 years straight, he either won the national championship or was runner-up. Okay, so when you're at the top, is it easier to stay, once you stay at the top, do you feel like it's pretty easy to stay there as opposed to when you get knocked down a little bit, it's harder to get back to it?
I must have asked my question horrendously because that's not at all what I was asking.
No, I think So, again, it's never one thing. It's not, I'm not, soft in my hands.
Well, it's not
that
about
fixes all the problems. Or it's not, I'm not confident, and that fixes all the problems. It's a combination of those factors. I think confidence is this very intangible thing that we're always trying to search for. And confidence is kind of the general attribute, I would say, that keeps you up at that high or you're looking for at the low.
Okay.
It's confidence in what you know, in what you can execute. So what is confidence? Well, again, that's a very intangible thing. For some people, it's more of a headspace. For some people, it's more of a physical thing. The more I shoot, the more confident I become. Or the more targets I hit, the more confident I become. And for some people, they can just kind of work that out in their own mind with better game plans or anything like that.
Well, allow me to ask this question, because I know that in my mind, and I'm not as accomplished a shooter as both you and David, so when I leave a tournament, I know the targets I missed. I know the stations that I missed them on. So a lot of times I dwell on, okay, what did I do? Was it a wrong move? Was a bad hold point? Was my headspace not right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you kind of go through those same things, or do you look at the broader picture?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't hit a target on a stand, you better be looking at how you approach the target. Did you execute the plan correctly, and was your plan good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think as a whole, you're looking at more of headspace and a mental game, and because when you're trying to correct something, you have to acknowledge that you have a problem with it.
Yes.
Okay, so at a particular station, if I'm continually missing a right to left, that's pretty simple to acknowledge. I'm constantly missing a right to left. When you're struggling with hitting the last bird of pairs, no matter what the target is, or you're struggling, starting a course or ending a course, or maybe multi-day events, those are broader pictures where you have to look at patterns. At least that's how I do. I feel like patterns are what people kind of analyze to find the problems. So I don't really know exactly what we're asking or what we're trying to answer. Everybody's a little different.
I'd summarize it this way. In moments when you're high in the ebb or the flow, whatever, when you're doing well, are you very self-aware of what you require around you and what you require emotionally and in your head to be able to perform at the highest level? And then do you find that when you're in your lows that it's hard to define and almost feels like you don't know what it is that you need? Because go ahead, I'm going to stop there.
Yeah, I don't really know exactly, right? When when everything's working well, you don't question things.
Mm-hmm. Right.
When things aren't working well, you start to question things. So, I mean, I think that's kind of a natural, response to it. When you're shooting well, everything works right. So you feel correct. You think you're thinking confidently, and you're moving in accordance to those thoughts.
Yeah.
When things aren't going right, that's when doubt creeps in, and you start to question certain things.
Sure.
Whether that be in your own head or maybe the game plan, maybe both. So that's just kind of the way it works. It's kind of the natural, right? When things are working right, nobody questions them.
Right.
Exactly. When they're going wrong, everyone goes, "Oh, well, what is it? Is it my hair? Is it my, am I standing? Is my foot placement right? Am I turning with the bird? Am I looking hard at it?" I don't know. I mean, for today, for example, that's all I can kind of speak on is myself. But I was very disappointed today. I had a really bad round. I was not any more nervous than I was in any other nationals, and I always get nervous.
Yeah.
I actually kind of welcome the nerves.
It
makes me feel sharp, and it makes me feel, a little more intense. I think what I lacked today was discipline with my eyes in terms of those nerves. It wasn't approach. It wasn't game plan. The first stand, maybe my game plan was wrong because I didn't hit any. But
which one did you start on? One?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt confident with my game plan, and on every stand, I really actually did. I saw the birds. I had a real confident game plan. I feel like the way I was approaching the bird was correct, and that I could execute it. But the one thing that I didn't have today was the way my eyes were working. Maybe that was because of nerves. Maybe that was because of lack of, extra focus on the visual part of the game.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't really know yet. I'll have to wait and see. But all I know is at the end of the day today, my eyes weren't working the way that they had the last few days at the shoot. Mm-hmm. And it reflected. So you kind of, at the end of the shoot, you go back and you look at it and you try and, pinpoint those details and figure them out and get better.
Yeah. Well, hey, we got a question here. And by the way, anybody that's watching, if you have a question for Desi, please send it in. K80 says, Desi, thoughts on the targets this year compared to previous nationals?
I thought that they maybe were a tick softer. But across the board, I think the numbers were still pretty normal. Mm-hmm. I mean, we always say that. And I was actually in here in the Hall of Fame Museum, and I was looking at the past national champions on the wall, and they have the scores on the bottom of the plaque. And it's really consistent. It's really freaking consistent.
Really?
So whether you feel like they were easier or harder, the proof is in the pudding. It's kind of laid out the same way every year. I think the super squads have added a different dynamic the last couple years, which maybe has, impacted that top score or the spread. I do feel like they were a tick softer this year. But with that being said, I don't think the scores were any higher than, I don't know, I'd have to look, but I don't think they were any higher than they normally are.
No, they're not. That's what's interesting, because it almost feels like, because I think about that a lot too. And Desi, I'd be interested to hear your opinion on it. Like, think about the target difficulty that we had back when we were shooting PSCA stuff. And literally the level of difficulty that those targets were ridiculous, right?
Stupid, hard.
Ridiculously hard. And I think that really all of us, there's enough of us that really the difficulty almost at times of the course doesn't seem to make that much of an impact on the overall result in terms of the end of the round, end of the tournament, number. It's really, I think, about I think it proves how much of the game is mental and how little of it is mechanical.
Yeah.
And because you can throw crazy hard targets or crazy easier targets, and roughly we're all going to end up in the same thing, which tells you that really what it is that we're all battling up here.
Yeah. It's execution. I think the majority of people I talk to in the pro squads yesterday's course, which was the orange course we shot. We all, the constant kind of trend was we didn't think that the course was that hard, and none of us really performed that well. None of us executed to what we felt like our capabilities were.
Yeah.
Which was interesting because it wasn't any harder than any of the other courses we shot. Maybe it's because it was day 3. You start getting a better idea of where the lay of the land is, the numbers. I don't know. I don't know those things. The day I figure them out, I hope I'm winning. It's like, I guess if you figured them out, you're doing great. So, until then, we're all trying to figure them out all the time. I think the targets were fine. At the end of the day, I've learned to, shoot what they throw, and it's my job to do the best I can on the presentations, and I think everybody had a great time, which is really what they're doing. It's really hard to throw a set of targets for 10 days. 10 days. They throw the same set of targets. Like, I mean, you're basically setting yourself up for failure in terms of consistency. Like, how is that even possible?
It's not possible at all.
But they manage to do a really good job of that.
Yeah, they do.
They do a really good job of making it friendly for everybody, making it competitive, and still throwing fun targets.
Yeah,
so,
and I think it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I always do, Yeah. I think that's saying something, too, if you sucked and you enjoyed it.
Hey, guys, real quick update. Looks like Anthony won the shoot-off, so he's the official third-place winner.
All
okay.
Right.
Awesome.
And who's second?
That would be Turner Purcell.
Okay, very cool. Good for him.
We're supposed to have Turner back in here.
I feel like Anthony moved up the ladder quite a bit today. I don't
Big
know,
time.
from the starting point.
But are you surprised?
No.
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 Not with Anthony.
Yeah. That man is a very intense individual.
Yeah.
And it shows in intense moments.
Yeah. So, Desi, right now I'm watching the live stream of you shooting, and I wish that have you got a chance to see it at all?
No.
I'll
probably wait a few days before I look at that, to be honest.
I've noticed watching your rounds for the Top Gun and the North versus South or whatever it was, maybe you were in both, and then also now watching this, your moves, I know you said you weren't very happy with your shooting today, but I've watched you shoot a lot, and your moves look like really crisp recently, like really good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you almost won the Top Gun shootout, like the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
What have you been working on changing anything recently, or just what would you attribute that to?
This is year 3 with the auto, so I think an equipment change 3 years ago, and it's taken me that long.
It does take a while
to let my body realize that I'm not getting impact at the trigger.
Was that one of the reasons why you switched?
Yeah. My gun didn't kick. I loved my DT-11. It was fantastic. I shoot a light shell, but my body was developing a flinch. It happened in like an 8-month period, which is crazy. I've never seen anyone develop a flinch that bad. And it started out 1-2 birds around, and then it was like 10.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
It was the craziest
I didn't
thing.
know this.
I don't, and maybe it was more my eyes than maybe my body. I don't know, but I decided I've got to do something immediately to adjust this. So I went back to the auto. That was 3 years ago. The first year, I really didn't see a lot of changes. The second year, which was last year, I feel like I finally got to a point where I could really be calm when I pulled the trigger. And we always think that we're kind of being calm. Mm-hmm. Really actually calm when you pull the trigger.
Really?
That's
There's
a very,
difference.
very hard thing to learn. And it's a really hard thing to recognize because you always think you're calm, but I promise you, could be more relaxed, right?
People have no idea.
I would love to be more relaxed when that happens.
So that was last year. So then this year kind of came around, and I wasn't having to worry about that as much. And I think it's just shown in the physicality of it. Literally, I can be more relaxed and let the shot off with ease. I'm not tensing as much. which allows you, I feel like, to move with the bird a little bit better. You can hold on to stuff a little bit longer because there's not a lot of panic, which I definitely had today, I'll admit. I had some panic moments.
You look, I wish you could come and look at this, Desi. I want your opinion on this because I think it looks really good.
Is he for real?
I'm
think
for
so.
real.
He's for real.
I can spin the monitor. Let's try that.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll try spinning the monitor.
Because I want to see what you're talking about over there.
And that way you can be on camera too and
There we
watch.
go.
Can you see this?
I can.
I'll go back a little
Your move from the first target to the second target was like, show that again, dude.
bit. I'm going to go back. I think it starts here. It's like right after this, I believe. I kind of see a little bit what you're talking about. If you look at your face right as you go to pull the trigger, you can see that a little bit. But I like looking at your demeanor as I think you look pretty intense. It's cool.
Yeah. And you know who's real smooth? I followed her all day, was Karen.
Yeah.
I really got to, watch her again today, and she's super smooth.
Look how crisp this
But
looks.
watch this move from the first. Look at that.
Are the-
Sean and I look like we're standing on a trampoline out there.
What are you doing there?
There, I'm praying.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to say visualizing, but I love it. What an answer.
I'm praying. No, I am visualizing. When I'm shooting my best, I feel like I'm very deliberate.
Yeah.
And I'm very confident is not the word. I'm absolutes. I'm thinking in absolutes. I am going to start on the leading edge. I know I'm going to start there. I'm going to do this. I'm broken down every moment of the shot in my mind. And when I call pull, I can visually see that happen.
Yeah.
When I'm not shooting my best, I might think that. I might have the same game plan, but I just go, oh, I'm going to start on the front edge. Oh, I'm going to move over here. I'm going to look hard. And when I call pull, I just kind of expect my body to do it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen. Okay?
Not always.
Mine doesn't
Right.
either.
It not always.
Yes,
So
yeah.
that's where I feel like the difference is. I'm thinking in absolutes in my mind.
Yeah.
And then when I'm executing them, I'm 100% trusting that absolute, but I'm also seeing it happen. I'm seeing, the gun in relation to the target. I'm looking hard at the right time. And that's for me. Everybody's a little different.
Question about the auto. I think, just my own opinion, Desi, and you can back me up on this if you want, but I think if you cornered most of the top-level pros that are shooting an over-under right now, and you said, hey, if you had one or two choices, they would probably go back to the auto. And I mean going backwards because a lot of them started with an auto, and if you look back not too long ago, like maybe as little as 10 years ago, Joe Finizzi still had won a national championship with an auto, but all the top-level pros shot autos back in the day.
Yeah.
And now it's this big prestige thing. It seems like we all have to shoot high-end over-unders. Do you think there is an advantage with an auto? I mean, I know you made a choice for your reasons, but do you think there's an advantage or disadvantage of an auto? Or
I think there's an advantage depending on what you need. Right.
Okay.
A guy like Zach, he doesn't need less recoil. He just doesn't need it. So, maybe it's not an advantage. For someone like me, I need less recoil. So it's an advantage. The equipment is, proportional to what your needs are. There are times where I go, I kind of miss my over-under on certain shots, but I'm not willing to sacrifice that one shot for 95% of them.
Yeah.
I would rather, and in my instruction, I would rather teach someone to, learn their equipment than change their equipment.
Right.
If we're at that level, I don't think there's an advantage. It's what you need.
That makes sense.
Whatever you need. Yeah, I mean, those guys could probably put an auto in their hand, and I bet you they could go out and shoot the same freaking score that they did today.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just what you need. I guess I'm getting older faster.
Don't say that.
You know what I mean?
That means I'm getting really old fast. So
I don't know.
Of course, if I keep working with David, I'm going to age twice as fast. So
the only downside to the auto I found, like today, for example, I can't throw any shells, and I was
Boy, wouldn't it be nice?
oh my gosh, I was seething on the inside. I wanted to throw something so bad, and I couldn't. So I have to turn around and swallow it.
The shell?
No,
I know.
Dave. But I will say this: I'm really proud of all the girls. It's a young group. They're all doing fantastic, and they're really good sports. They're good sports. They're good squad mates. They're good competitors. They work really hard. So great job to all of the ladies out there. Keep at it.
Yeah, it's impressive to see.
Go on.
Yeah, we just had Grace Corselli in here, and
she's a gem.
I can't. I mean, 20 years old. She's only been shooting the game for 5 years, and she's lighting it up already.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's just a cool chick too.
Yeah, and of course Gianna. That I know what she puts into it.
Right.
You know, I mean, she works really hard, and it shows.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, the hard work. And Karen, congratulations to Karen. I spoke with her just real quick right after we've shot, and she has worked her butt off.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she puts in every minute and every hour and every thought, and it's well-deserved.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Sean, you got a question for Desi?
I'm just soaking it all in. I love hearing Desi talk.
I possibly,
thanks.
yeah, me too, Desi. It's always
Thanks,
good to have
Sean.
you around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, and like I said, I don't know. I don't know all the answers. I try and, as an instructor, I try and learn from what I see and what I do and implement that. And then I've been very lucky to learn from a lot of these guys along the way.
I want to, if I can, I just had a clip up of you on that really, what did you think of that one station? It was the first one that we got to on the little platform with that little bird
Orange,
coming, and then that black bird.
Yep.
You said that you were having issues sometimes with your eyes today. What was that? What was happening that you?
Yeah, I've actually struggled with my eyes a lot in terms of my correction, my prescription, and then I have really chronic dry eyes. So I get a lot of how I see things is a result of that, and it's never exactly the same. So it was really dusty out there today, and then the first half of the course, even though none of the targets were in the sun, it was really bright.
It was.
I mean, it was just really bright. And my eyes were really dry. And I'm not making excuses, but I know what that feels like when it starts to happen. So then all of a sudden I start thinking about it. And and the ease with which I can keep my eyes open and keep them on the target and watch it break is more difficult than when they're not dry.
Yeah. Do you shoot with contacts?
I can't. I've
Can't.
tried contacts.
See, I'm new to contacts, and
Yeah.
I know Zach does, right?
Yeah, he's wore contacts his whole, and he's blind without I mean, he is
Really?
blind. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm
But
pretty close.
he's always wore contacts, and he's perfectly fine with them. But my eyes are too dry. I tried them. I blink, and they just fold over. So my visual problems today, and again, no excuses, but my eyes felt real dry. I was looking in, the sun was real bright on that side. So it just added another level of kind of difficulty for me in execution with how I wanted to use my eyes.
Be able to connect to it.
And then it kind of builds, right? Because you miss, and then you're starting to shoot defensively, and your eyes aren't working correct, and then you're trying to do it consciously, and it all just kind of snowballs.
As hot and as dry as it's been this week, the other thing is hydration, right? I mean, sometimes you don't really feel like you need to drink water.
Right.
But I've noticed a big difference if I try to religiously drink a big Gatorade before I go out on the course and, prehydrate my body.
Yeah.
Then I work better.
For sure.
But it's easy just kind of get in the zone, you're shooting, and you're not really thinking about drinking, and all of a sudden, man, I'm thirsty as all get out.
Yeah.
And then that's too late at that
It's too
point.
late.
Yeah, for sure. So I struggle with that side of the field from the brightness. And then the other side of the field is actually good because the target is backlit, right? The sun is shining on the bird. So visually it's easier to see that. When you have the target between you and the sun, you get a shadow on the front side, and you just don't get as much detail. And then there was, I think it was stand 3, there was kind of a left to right rising crosser, and it obviously wasn't in the sun, but it got close enough that it was just really bright.
It did. Right in the corner of that tree.
Yeah, and for those people who really like to hold on to that bird, that posed a little bit of a challenge there. on the backside, the sun was kind of going in and out of the clouds a little bit for a moment, and we had a true pair on the corner. It was an orange dome, and it was kind of fallen back there. And just the crispness with which you see the target can give you confidence, right?
Yeah.
You see the target better, you have more confidence. You don't see it as well, you have less confidence. So
You're going to laugh at this, but this is real.
I'm nervous.
I'm scared.
Okay, so literally, I not like actually cross-eyed, but totally purposefully not allowing my eyes to converge at the correct depth of the bird. I will practice a lot, like trying to shoot a bird where my depth perception is purposefully incredibly wrong, so that I'm forcing an insanely blurry view of the bird. And that's one of the things, like, I accidentally fell upon doing that during the PSCA days when I would like to shoot the 6 and the 7 so fast, and I'd go and practice that kind of thing, and sometimes I couldn't see it that well, and my eyes wouldn't get to the correct depth, and I noticed how strangely weird that it worked sometimes if I just went with it and let myself do that. And
yeah, you're crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. How you can make something go blurry. I wouldn't recommend it. People, don't try that at home. But yeah, that's a testament to how important it is that your eyes work when you're shooting.
Well, I pulled this out of my pocket as you were saying that. I have incredibly dry eyes too, and I'm new to contacts this year. And I asked David, he's like, just before the round and that's it. But I'm telling you what, it was so dry and dusty when we were out there, when the rotation Sean and I shot. I actually had to do this halfway through the round because my eyes were almost burning from the dryness. And and it takes a minute, put them in. As soon as I got done shooting, I put them in, and by the time I was up again, my eyes were adjusted again. But oh my goodness, it was dry and dusty out there.
And fatigue plays a big factor into that.
Sure, absolutely.
So I personally struggle with that a lot. Again, it's not an excuse. It's just learning it. You have to learn yourself and learn how you see and when you're going to have problems and try and combat those problems. And definitely eye drops is something that I've had to do more of. And
well, David's chomping at the bit here to show everybody this.
Well, what I was going to say was that, like, this is an example of what I was talking about watching you. Like, your body is like, it's all moving as one piece so fluidly, and it really looks like you've been working really hard on something because everything looks so connected and so...
I think David found the only 2 stations that I ran.
No, I was saying...
because I didn't run any of the others. I'm serious.
Did you run both of these?
The only 2. Yeah, the only 2. So
listen, I'm just trying to make you look good, Desi.
The one in the corner, too. I'm like, well, actually, those did work out well.
Yeah, they look good, doesn't it?
But
I was saying, this isn't me just BSing, because these guys can back me up. I was saying that when we were watching you...
for the Top Gun shootout.
Yeah, for the Top Gun. I mean, I
he
had
was in
no
here
idea.
Freaking out because you almost won the whole thing.
Well, I didn't know that you were leading it, and I'm watching because we couldn't see the scores, and I was watching it. And I'm like, Desi's shooting the best of everybody right now, and then we saw the scores, and I was like, see,
Right.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's something I worked on quite a bit this year. Zach really impressed that upon me, especially with World Fitask, is using my body more and. Being in tune with the gun in terms of how I'm rotating and just doing it, being more calm. It's literally, it's just being more calm. I could say that would be a good advice for anybody is just be more calm.
What do you do
so
to be able to do that? How do you?
I'm screaming at myself to be calm.
Screaming at yourself helps you be calm?
I know, right? Be calm, be calm, be calm. I think, how you set up for the bird can help that. Not spending a long period of time just standing there with the gun mounted, looking out into space, right? That builds anxiety. I think not putting yourself in a box sometimes on exactly, where you're going to pull the trigger. Every once in a while, you kind of have to demand that.
Sure.
But, and then I think just realizing that you have more time. The game, when you go slower, the game feels slower. I don't know if you guys feel that, but I do.
Yes, I do, but I do have a question. I'm going to pick your brain. You're here. I know I'm keeping you from having a drink. One thing I've noticed that like we've got a lot of 4-pair stations out here, and when I'm doing well, I run the first pair, the second pair, and get to the 4th pair, and it's like, okay, I need to finish this to finish out the stand, and all of a sudden, I'll check the gap. My eyes will come off the bird, and I'll check the gap. What do you do to keep yourself from doing that?
Well,
I know that's a visual discipline thing, but I'm sure at some point you've struggled with that, right?
Yeah. Why you're looking at the gap would kind of be the question, right? And knowing where the guns. So the term barrel awareness, that's kind of a topic in and of itself. Is understanding that you have an idea, you know where the gun's at, even though you're not looking at it.
Right.
The same can be said for space. You have an idea of what the space is, even though you're not looking at the space.
Right.
So that's kind of a topic in and of itself. In my own shooting, and usually when I'm instructing, I kind of impress more upon the beginning of the shot. So the end of the shot is a result of what we did at the beginning. When you call pull and you're uncertain visually of where everything's at, where the gun is in relation to the bird, or soft focus on the bird, your brain is starting to ask questions. Where is everything? Am I in the right spot? Am I going the right speed? Am I matching the speed of the bird? So then by the time we get to the area where we should be hard focusing on the bird, our eyes are starting to second guess everything else because they didn't know where they were at the beginning.
Right.
Okay,
makes sense.
Do I know where the gun's at? Just simply that statement. Well, no. I just kind of looked at the bird and I called pull. I looked at the bird and I moved with it. I don't really know where the gun's at. Or did I start on the bird or in front of the bird? Did I know where that was? So I tell people to focus more on the beginning of the shot of how we're actually acquiring the bird and what we're seeing, so that the end result, we have the opportunity to do that.
Okay.
Hard focus, 100% at the right moment is one of the most challenging things to do visually.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we get that hard focus too early in the shot. Right? So we see the bird really well at the beginning, and then by the time we get to the area we're going to pull the trigger, we've exhausted that resource, and we don't have any option but our eyes just kind of wander. They go to the gap or the space or the gun or whatever it is. So like I said, I would say visually being a little bit more certain of where everything's at in the beginning of the shot, and then as you get moving with the target, you have the opportunity to now look really hard at it, and you're not checking the gap or looking at the gun. Right. Just saying don't do it doesn't change anything, right?
I know.
Don't do it. Okay.
Right.
Well, what do I do?
Right. We did have a question here from Matthew. He said, Desi, what kind of advice do you have for young women coming into the sport?
Jason, could you do me a favor and just scoot the chair a little bit back, because when you and Sean are sitting there and you're at different depths, then the camera just goes like, I'll focus on Jason.
If you give me enough cord, I could do that, David. So
it's too short.
Yeah, there we go. I got it. Is it good?
You're good. Thank you.
So young women in the sport, I would say, attitude and effort, just like I would tell anyone, young person, beginner, attitude and effort is a big thing. Putting in the hard work and giving yourself time, not being too hard on yourself. It's a learning process. This is a difficult game. So making sure that you give yourself time, attitude, and effort. That's what I would say.
Well, Sean got smaller all of a sudden. Hey, Ant. Welcome back, Ant. I heard it's official now.
I did it. One more shoot off.
Congratulations.
We held the other guy back so you didn't have to shoot him.
No, he showed up.
Oh, well, don't worry. I was asking him
First time I met him.
Who was it?
Dylan. He works at Pine Creek in Florida.
Oh, cool.
Right down the road from Quail Creek.
Dylan Epp?
No.
DOH something.
He's 23 years old.
Wow, cool.
Big accomplishment for him to get up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get up there shooting for the podium.
Wow. That's impressive. Did you have any other shoot-offs, or was it
wait a minute. I know who you're talking about. I shot with him at the Jack Links, and he straighted the course the first day.
Okay.
Yeah. Incredible shooter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have any other shoot-offs, or just for the...
I had 5-stand shoot-off for M1, which I lost, and won the shoot-off for third overall in the main.
Well, congratulations on that one. Desi, do you want to go?
Yeah. Do we need Sean?
Well, no, we don't need Sean. You
Oh.
can stay. I mean, I'd rather you stay here than Sean. Just kidding, Sean.
No, go for it.
But I know you wanted to get going, so I
Yeah,
didn't want
thank
to
you.
keep you too long.
No, you're
Thank you
fine.
very much.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you joining
Thanks,
us.
Desi.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
Congratulations. Sean, or you're David. You had some questions for Anthony.
Yeah, I would say. Well, Anthony, I think that I talked about this. I asked you this a little bit before at the U.S. Open that you won, and basically about how your persona is to basically just fight to the end. But the thing that I'm really curious about personally is your because it's a skill that I hugely lack, which is your ability to compartmentalize an incredibly busy life and make it to where when you get to a thing like this that you can shut everything off and singularly focus on a thing, but still have equally as many things going on as, if not more than most people, and be present so well. So how do you do that?
Great question, and it is a challenge. And I think it starts with, for me, it starts at the beginning of the year. In the next month or two, I'll be figuring out what I'm going to do next year.
Yeah.
So it starts with planning the tournaments that I'm going to go to, looking at my schedule around that, planning the tournaments that are important to me, getting things squared away and taken care of, before those tournaments with work-wise and family, et cetera. When you step on to the range, if the most important thing is not hitting that bird, then you're probably not going to reach your potential.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
So that's the challenge with a lot of moving parts in my life and 4 kids, et cetera. So I just have to be super diligent, starting a year in advance to figure out this is where I'm going, this is where I'm not going.
Yeah.
And, I take a little bit of time off in the summer and do some fishing and actually fish competitively, and I take that very seriously, and just as, driven to do well in that as I am in shooting. This national championship is an example, though. I probably needed to go to the regional in the South Central Regional in Dallas for preparation, just mentally being in the flow of routine, et cetera. I did practice in advance of the nationals, but I wasn't able to quite execute well enough this weekend, despite shooting at, I would say, an incredibly high level from a technical standpoint and reading the bird standpoint, and even confidence. I mean, I had very little moments where, the targets, I was nervous about the targets at all.
Right.
So back to your question, I feel like a lot of planning, lay it out, put it on, I still use a, black book calendar, and I do have online scheduling now for my lessons, et cetera, but I still lay everything out in that calendar. And as simple as, in December, I'm going to mark off an afternoon in October that I'm going to be able to practice for 2 hours. So I know in December, that on October 15th at 2:00, I'm done lessons that day.
Yeah.
So I go to that extent. And then in preparation for a tournament, I try to get all of my work done, and I'd rather, get work done and be a little bit behind on sleep than have things open-ended, before I go to a tournament,
Completely agree with that.
So that's a big part. And then, my wife is very supportive of me to reach my potential and do the best, and just making sure everything is, that I'm doing everything well in my personal life and my family's in good shape and everything, everything's going well there, because, that would be the ultimate thing hanging over your head that I feel like would be the anything in your personal life that would bother you. I feel like, you don't have much chance when you get out on the range. At least I don't, if I don't have that taken care of.
Yeah.
So that's, and if I get ready to go shoot around, I'll like, my wife was flying here on Friday, and the kids stayed home. They're just too busy at school, et cetera. But my wife came for the weekend, and she was flying on Friday. So I said, I'm going to call you before I shoot the main at 10:30. I'm going to call you. Okay. She's going to be going to the airport. I'm like, make sure you pick up the phone, right? If you're at check-in or whatever, pick up the phone, because I want to know that you're fine and everything's good before I go shoot, you know, so that to that extent, and then I turn my phone off, you know, I never have my phone on just because there's too many things that could happen. Right. You know, if, you know, my 7-year-old on Friday fell down at recess and, you know, skinned her knees and stuff up bad, and the school was calling me and my wife. Well, I don't need – she's fine.
Right.
If there's an emergency, a real emergency besides skinned knees, someone can come get me on the course and I'll leave, you know, because that's obviously more important if there's actually something. But I don't need to know that she's, you know, at the nurse's office, you know, crying because her knees are skinned up because there's nothing I can do about it, and she's going to be okay anyway. Yeah. You know, so that I go to that extent of making sure that everything is taken care of and that I can check the box and turn my phone off and go out on the range. I mean, some people have their phone on the whole time they're shooting. That doesn't work for me at all because I have way too much stuff going on business-wise that, you know, somebody's going to be calling me. If it's something, you know, that's important, it's going to be on my mind. Yeah. You know, so, you know, if you have less going on and, you know, no one's calling you about something busy with business, then you can probably leave your phone on. But that definitely doesn't work for me.
No, it doesn't work for me. You mentioned, you know, saying that you probably should have been in Dallas and to be, you know, get mentally prepared for a match. And what do you find trying to like worm a question in there that's highly niche to like a high level competitor, but also that pulls, you know, some ability for just the hobbyist to relate to understanding and getting some insight into the way that your mind works. What about being able to go what about not having a big gap up until a major event where you are void of being in the mindset that you need to be to compete to win? It makes it, what changes for you? Like, why is it better to do that?
Yeah, so I mean, there's two things. Number one is shooting at the very highest level, which might not be related to everyone, but it's related to them shooting at their highest level, right? You have to be able to step into the box and know what you're going to do in all different situations and be comfortable and it be as second nature as possible. So I had shot through the year. I had shot the North Central Regional, then the World FITAS Championship, and shot a few of the side events there. Then went into the U.S. Open. I really didn't practice much between the World FITAS and the U.S. Open because I felt confident. I felt good. My routine was going well. I didn't have many birds that were scaring me. I practiced a few big long birds before the U.S. Open, birds like I missed at the World Championship. Mm-hmm. And so I think a couple of things happened. If I can go into that with confidence, I don't need to practice as much. And if I don't need to practice as much, I don't open up my technical game to be thinking and working on things, right? So the way my mind works when I practice, I'm always trying to make a shot better or make a better move or improve my technique. And I really feel like in the 30 days prior to a major competition, you should be just using the tools that you have and sharpening them versus getting in any real serious practice in terms of building a skill set. Yeah. So
makes you too conscious.
Yeah. If I can come off a tournament and felt good about it, then I can leave my practice alone. Yeah. I practiced before this tournament because I hadn't been shooting that much, and I needed to do it for the confidence to make sure I felt like I was going to hit everything that I saw.
Right.
And I did. And that part was there, but just the flow of my routine to be able to feel like I get in the right spot in my mind, you know, it's a fine line between being, you know, too careful or too careless. There's a fine line between being too aggressive or not aggressive enough. I feel like when you've been in competition, you can find that balance. You can strike that point a little bit easier. Yeah. You know, back to juggling a lot of things. I didn't go to the regional in Dallas, the last regional of the year, because my kids started school that week. Mm-hmm. So they started school on Tuesday. I would have had to leave on Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah. So they're getting back into the routine of everything. You know, I really need to be there. Yeah. You know, that's my first job, you know, not shooting. So that's why I didn't go, because something was more important to me. I really wasn't going to have my mind in it, you know, so that's just that's a life decision. But I told my wife 2 days ago, I said, next year I need to, when I start looking at my calendar for 2025, I need to, figure out what, I'm not going to go to all the tournaments just because I can't, and I don't want to. I have other things in my life I want to do, but I'm definitely going to go to the regional before the nationals, and maybe the one before that, skip some of the other ones, So I think that it's just a balance to be able to strike the right place in your mind. Where does that relate to the average guy? If you're in D class to A class, you probably need to be practicing all the way up until you go to keep, learning those shots, et cetera. And by definition, if you're a less experienced shooter, you're going to be more conscious anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to be.
Yep.
You have to walk up to that station and be more conscious of your plan and what you're doing, because your subconscious isn't developed yet. As you become more and more experienced, your competitions matter more, and your practice and when you practice matters more, and kind of what you get into. I give people lessons. There's people that are in the top 10 or 15 here in the main event that I gave them lessons within the month prior that I didn't tell them things that they need to work on,
right?
Because it's not going to be productive to them doing well.
It wouldn't be good.
It's not going to be productive to them doing well, even though they need to fix it and work on things for next year.
Right.
But now's not the time.
Now's not the time.
So I don't even mention that to them.
Yeah. Now's not the time even to be aware of it.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So I got another question. So I'm going to kind of piggyback off of a question that a guy has. I'll read his question and then give you mine. It says, Chad Roberts talked about changing the way he shoots to keep up with the advancement in the level of the game. You continuing on the above. I don't really understand. They're two broken up questions that he put into one. So he says, I know Chad used to shoot a lot like you. With Brandon winning consistently over the past 2 years, do you feel the need to consider changing aspects of your game? So you can answer that question. And then the question that I have that's a little bit broader than that is, and if you don't feel comfortable answering this question, because it may be a little personal, then feel free to say that. But how motivated, I know how much of a competitor that you are. And how motivating is it to you to have somebody like Brandon, not referencing him in any way, just saying, just have anybody just consistently dominating every major event that we go to. How motivating is that to you to change your performance at these major tournaments, and what is that doing for you in terms of the input that you're putting into the work? Yeah,
so I'll answer the non-technical question first, which is more just, having someone that's like Brandon, who essentially, if you don't reach your highest level, you're not going to win. Right. Okay. And you could say that before Brandon showed up 2 years ago, but not to the extent. Yeah. Okay. So to me, I love it, right? Because I know for sure I'm better right now because I have to be better than I was 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I have two options: stay competitive or quit. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do anything, partial, so, and I've thought about both options, right? Yeah. And both are valid options given my life and other things that are important to me. Right. Okay. So, I've chose to look at my calendar, go to the tournaments that I need to go to. These guys that are competing, guys like Zach and Brandon, their life is committed to this. Yeah. Okay. So that's why they're good. Okay. That's why they're going to every tournament. I'm not going to be able to go to every tournament, but I need to go to enough to plan my schedule and then work harder and do practice when I need to practice to keep my game improving. I'm better for sure right now because Brandon showed up than if he didn't show up, because I would just rise to the highest level. Right. Okay. And I would rise to the level that I needed to be competitive. And that level is higher now. Yeah. So I'm not going to get left behind. Right. So I'm going to be better over the next 10 years than I would have been. So to me, it's motivating. I think there are people that are intimidated by him and don't really know how to respond. So I think the only response is to basically say, all right, I said to him today, when we got done, I said, I shot really well. We were talking about just, him and I talking. I said, I shot really well, but I know why I didn't shoot as well as I'm capable of, So I said, that's the problem for you, Brandon, is I know why I didn't,
Right.
jokingly, I said, I know exactly why I didn't shoot to my potential,
Yeah.
This weekend, and I shot to my potential a lot this year. I just didn't this weekend, and there's a reason. So you have to figure out what that reason is and do something about it.
Yeah.
So answering your question, I think it's for U.S. shooting, we're going to continue to get better.
Yeah.
Because we have the best guys in the world, in my opinion.
Yes.
So if you have the best guys in the world to get to shoot against them 5, 6, 7 times a year, you're going to get better if you're trying to be competitive.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's an advantage, right?
Yeah.
Am I going to get beat by him? Sure. Am I going to beat him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I beat him at the World Feet Test. I beat him at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
So, that was the 3 biggest tournaments that I shot against at him this year was the U.S. Open, the World Feet Test, and the Nationals,
And you hosted the World Sporting.
I hosted the World Sporting, so
Right.
I held my own for the
Yeah.
year, right?
Yeah.
I beat him at the Western Regional. So, in my eyes, we're even,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we'll try again next year.
Yeah. Right.
Well, it's obviously a big motivator for you, right? I mean, if somebody steps up the game, you like you said, you have one or two choices. You can either step up your game or get left behind.
Yeah.
So
That's why I asked that question, because I know Anthony's head pretty well, and I know that he would give the right answer to that question.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best answer that you can give.
Yeah, I mean, back to, the technical question that the guy had in terms of, Chad Roberts said he changed his technique, et cetera. I've changed my technique. My technique has evolved continually.
Every time I go to shoot, I am thinking about
so
something.
And it's simply because of watching people that are better than you and picking something that you can do. When I learned to shoot, probably the first 10 years of my shooting, I didn't change my technique.
Yeah.
I just did the same thing all the time, and that was probably an advantage because you build that skill set, very deep.
And you learn to define it really. When you don't change what you're doing and your mechanics, you end up defining yourself very well, and then you learn what you should change.
Right. That's your subconscious. That's
Yeah.
your strongest suit then,
Right.
and which I learned to connect with the bird and run with the bird and open the lead up from being close to the bird.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next thing I would have added in my game would have been, being able to stay in front of the bird and utilize my mount and my timing better, similar to how you and Wendell would shoot, and realize that I need that in lots of applications.
Yeah.
And then, a game changer for me that helped me both mentally and technically is I spent 5 or 6 days with George Digweed, and, the guy is obviously the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't learn something from him, then you're being foolish.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, what I learned from him was a few things mentally of what to do outside the box. And then I also realized that, by studying all of his shot cam, et cetera, he matches the speed of the bird when he fires, okay, and the gun and the bird are completely in sync at that last moment. And sometimes his lead opens up a little bit at the end. Sometimes it collapses in. Sometimes he maintains it. He's just looking at the bird when he fires. So he's getting there from behind the bird almost all the time, okay? So what did that do in my game? That allowed me to be less critical of my insertion points and realize that whatever I had planned to do or rehearsed to do, it's good enough, okay? And that if I can finish the shot visually, I can still get there. Well, that's not different than what Brandon does, okay? Yeah. Brandon we shot together today. He shot a lot of targets later than everyone on the squad. He started from behind it and then match the speed longer than anyone else on the group.
Right.
Okay, so if your argument is, well, you need to be in sync with the bird, you need to be in tempo with the bird. Well, he started behind the bird and he was in sync with the bird longer than you, Dave. Okay, so, and if he's in sync with the bird longer than you, his moments are bigger, and if he can keep his eye on the clay, he's got better odds. You know, that's my opinion. I was taught never be behind the bird. Okay, well, it's wrong. Okay, so is it a theory? Yes, all this is a theory.
Yeah.
So do I think you need to have a basis to start with and work on? Yes. So I'm not ever looking at someone and I'm never looking at someone's technique and saying I need to do this exactly like them.
Right.
But I understand the game really well, and I'm going to say, all right, what is actually going on there that works, that I can gain from. So the thing that I added to my game really in the last 2 years is I definitely start behind the bird more than I did before, not because I'm trying to just emulate, George or Brandon, but because I realize that if I'm in sync with the clay, which is the basis of my technique to be able to run with the bird and then finish the shot visually, I can be less critical of where my gun starts. And if I can be less critical of where my gun starts, I can watch the bird better.
So when you're if you're going to make a change to your game in that way, you made a comment a couple minutes ago about after watching George's shot cam footage, kind of basically realizing, I can be less critical of my insertion points. Is that how you said it?
Yep.
Yeah. And then basically it's like, okay, well, I can be less critical about that, and really the emphasis should be on the ending, right?
Right.
And
but on the flip side of that, if anybody watched me shoot The Last Stand today, I shot that faster than.
You finished on 10?
Yep.
Okay.
I shot it faster than anyone that I watched shoot it, and I started out of my gun on the first shot and stayed in front of the bird and fired when the gun hit my face, and then came up and was able to shoot the chandelle, in the middle, and basically, shot a maintain lead on the first bird, killing it with my timing of my move, and then came from behind the bird because that's where the gun was.
For the chandelle in the air.
For the chandelle, because that's you were behind it by definition.
Yeah.
And when I saw the bird clear, I fired.
So you were able to take it at the top instead of on the drop like everybody
yeah,
else
and the wind was blowing, and some guys waited, and it went back 10 yards, and so that's I was super committed to that. I stood there for a second before I stepped in, just 100% deciding. There's a lot of ways I could kill that, right? Mm-hmm. Which is maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. I've got to make maybe a few more decisions, but I technically know exactly what I'm going to do there. I've practiced those different things. I've used those different moves. So I would say that I do probably a little bit more than most people in terms of, how they approach different targets. But back to, your question of developing that in my game, really what I've done is if the bird gives me time and I have a big window, I'm just a little less critical. If the bird gives me time and I have a big window, I'm a little less critical of my hold point, and I'm a little less critical then of where the gun starts, and I'm just more critical of the end of the shot and seeing it well. So I get the control with the bird, I think, because I learned to be in control with the bird as a basis of my technique, so I think that.
And that's coming in like 30-40% into the shot.
Yeah, or sometimes right on the bird,
right on the start.
So that's how I learned as a kid, be pretty close to it and open it up. Now, personally, I wouldn't teach someone swing through as a starting method.
Yeah.
Because I think you run the risk of never learning to control the gun speed and the bird speed. So that's my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you should be
shooting
some kind of be connected with the bird and build in some part of lead, and open up some part, or a maintain lead to a pull away first as a basis. That's my opinion, right? Yeah. For a less, someone till they can get to 80% all the time.
Until they
know what control is, right? So the risk of being behind the bird is the gun's too fast.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you don't know what too fast is, then you have a hard time learning that control.
Yeah. Do you notice? Are you making a conscious effort to, come from behind certain birds, or is it just happen? You're just
more
allowing
instinctive by not worrying about where my hold point is.
So essentially, what you're doing is actually removing conscious driven movements out of the shot, and you're just being more intuitive.
So I'll still watch it, right? I'll still view the bird and kind of show myself where I would be on that bird when I would match its speed. So I might shoot a big crosser. So I ran the last 8 stands today.
Yeah.
My second to last stand is that rising pair of belly birds. I shot the far one first. I started in front of that, but I'm not concerned if I start behind it.
Yeah.
So I'm removing, I have less worry about something being wrong technically.
Yes.
When I rehearse that shot, I'm planning to be, a couple feet in front of it out there. I see it at the gun. So to me, a couple inches in front of the bird, but then when I step into the box, I don't really care exactly how the gun gets there.
Very similar to how I do that. Interesting. It would be cool, I think, to have all of us go out and shoot with a shot cam and just look at
the end part. The end part of the shot is not that much different.
I would agree.
I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Just by watching a lot of people,
Yeah.
it's how you get there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's because I think really that is the best way to do it. I don't think it's a way that that everybody should immediately, people listening to this right now, probably not a great idea to just immediately go out and try to I'm not going to pay attention to anything I'm doing until the very end. But when you get to a certain level and like what you're saying, you've developed a level of control of the gun and your body and the ability to create connectedness and feed off of visual information, then really I think by far the best move to do is where you're allow yourself to just be intuitive and respond to what's happening, and if that makes it that you're coming from behind the bird or in front of the bird or wherever it is, that's fine. As long as I've always wondered that anytime I try to insert consciousness early on into the shot, I think probably because of the difference in the way that I was taught to use my eyes versus the way that you teach to use your eyes, it pulls me from a visual connectedness,
right?
And which obviously makes sense.
So like the last stand, I watched that bird when I killed that bird early using my mount and staying in front of it.
Are you talking about stand 10 of the pair or the Chandelle challenge bird? The pair.
Right,
okay, the pair. Yeah.
So I watched that bird off the trap.
Let me see if I can get footage of you doing that. Keep talking.
I watched that bird off the trap, and I locked my eye onto it the whole way, which is basically what Dave does. Why do I do that? Because that's the right way to do it if I'm using that approach, But I don't lock my eye on the stand before that where I'm going to connect with the bird and run with it. I don't lock my eye on it when it comes off the trap,
Right.
So, it becomes, I guess, more complicated, right? But there's a way to, there's things that are important depending on how you're approaching it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we got.
You got it, Dave?
Yeah.
Can you spin your monitor for Ant?
Yeah, maybe you can. Oh, we have Brandon. We got all. Anthony, you want to do any commentary on like the last group of guys on Station 10? Do you have to? What time is the awards?
Probably pretty soon.
We might have to go.
Yeah.
Okay. This is kind of frustrating how this works. Okay.
What?
I don't know if you can see this, Anthony, from over there. Go ahead, Jason. What were you going to say?
No. You go ahead. Anthony doesn't have a whole lot of time, so I don't want to take up more of his time than we have to.
So I shot the Chandelle mounted. Just like a soft focus. Don't really try to watch it off the trap. And then when you go here, you'll see I've you're going to see my move is pretty short, and I'm, using my timing to get to the gun to where I want it to go.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. That was quick.
Yeah, I mean, I was much faster than pretty much anyone.
It is cool.
And a lot of people didn't run that,
Right.
I needed to run it,
Yeah. How important for you is it when you're making a move like that to control your physical tension and like are you paying attention to your body and trying to put it
I pay attention to it in practice, but not
in a match.
Not in the match. All right, I got to go. They're calling me.
Okay, cool. Hey, congratulations, Anthony.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
I'm very happy for you. Get out there, run. I've seen you run before. We raced.
That was awesome having Anthony. I guarantee you that Brandon's probably not going to make it. I saw him getting yanked and pulled and hand shook in every direction when I was out there. So I don't know if I think the big guy's still playing sergeant at arms out front here.
Yeah.
David, this has been awesome. I know there's some things that you and I will work on to clean this up a little bit better. We do. Would you falling down over there?
I almost just destroyed the NSCA Hall of Fame.
Oh gosh, we're never invited back.
Oh my God.
Matthew Harrison says anyone else's audio messed up, like there's two versions playing 4 seconds behind each other. If that happens, Matthew, try refreshing your page.
You don't even have to refresh. There's a button that I coded on the page that says refresh audio. If you click that, it does a hard refresh to reset the HTML script from loading to players. Long story short, not in nerd talk, click the yellow button.
Click the yellow button. We could have just left it at that.
Yeah,
David.
we could have done that. I like to make things complicated.
Yes, you do. But no, there's a few things I think we can clean up on this production, and you and I have talked about that, and we'll continue to talk about it. Looks like big guy's still hanging out there.
I really enjoy I would love to have a long-form conversation with Anthony. I like the way that that we can lock into things and go pretty deep on stuff,
Yeah.
I think one thing that's cool watching this, because admittedly when I'm competing at a high level, which haven't done recently, but but when I'm trying to win and shooting really well, I don't really have time to pay attention to much of anybody else's movements and stuff like that, and so I don't really get a chance to watch other guys that much. But going through and watching, these clips on here from the Super Squad or the Pro Squad thing, it is very cool to see what Anthony's talking about, because literally if you were to watch him shooting the pair that we just watched and me shooting the pair that we just watched, it would look identical. Not just in where we're shooting it, but the way our bodies are moving, the way we're physically set up, our draw lengths, when we're starting to move in the hand, everything is identical.
Yeah.
And literally we are the two polar opposites in the way that we approach the game. And I think that that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. It's very interesting,
it's
too.
It's very interesting.
It's
I should
really
say
cool
polar
to me
opposites, like just theoretically in terms of the way that people categorize shooters.
Yeah, for sure. It's very interesting to me because I pay a lot of attention to how people move, what their move is on the target, and we got to shoot, and for anybody that's watching that hasn't been to the Nationals, this is where you're missing a big opportunity here. You can come out and shoot these same targets these guys are shooting, but what's cool is, for example, Sean and I went out and shot the green course yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It was our rotation on the green, or maybe I don't know, day before, whatever. We'd already shot those targets. Now I get to follow you guys around and watch how you guys shoot it, and the difference is unbelievable. But there's a lot of things, even though Brandon's using a different technique than, say, you would or Anthony would or whatever, the movement to the target and how they approach a target, how they see a target, and when they shoot the target is amazing. I mean, like if you're really into like body mechanics and understanding what's going on there, I'm watching them more than I'm watching them shoot. A lot of people sit and watch the target and, oh, yeah, they broke it. Oh, yeah, dead pair. stand back and watch what's going on with the shooter, and you can learn a lot.
Yeah, and also you actually see. I'm sure that you probably saw some subtleties in the way that stations played differently today as opposed to yesterday. Maybe. I mean, I didn't see the course yesterday, but I'm sure there were some differences, whether that be because of lighting or wind or whatever it is. But it's interesting to see, think about going back a couple of days to the conversation that we had with Neil and how I talked about, that there's an interesting strategy that's really like a chess match or a poker game that you're playing at the top level, where there's a lot of going all in and gambling on something, hoping that it pays off when you're trying to win a match. And what's interesting is when you get to shoot a course, or when you get to watch a course of all the pros on it, on Sunday, it's the last day, you can kind of see how, regardless of mechanical influence or approach to the game, that the guys that are going all in tend to do it the same way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Did you notice that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And another thing, too, that's kind of amazing to me is, we've talked about pre-shot routines and all this other stuff, and everybody has gotten way quick. Wendell I can't believe how fast he is now. Yeah. But everybody's gotten quicker, and I think there's not as much emphasis on that as what there used to be. And there seems to be a lot of similarity.
You mean the pre-shot routine, right?
Yes, pre-shot routine. The one thing I will say, too, is I've noticed, I'm not going to say any names, I've noticed some of the top-level pros that are changing their methods to match or try to mimic what Brandon's doing. And you know what, though? But hey, listen, you got to give him credit. Like, I give Chad a lot of credit for his statement. If you're not studying what the guy that's winning's doing, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
Now, I think you study it to a point, but in a roundabout way, what Anthony said is, yeah, I'm studying what he's doing, and he's motivating me, but I'm not just going to do what he's doing. I'm going to do it and try and do it better.
Yeah.
And incorporate my own game into that.
Yeah.
And I think everybody can learn from that. And going out and watching, I'm telling you, those of you at home, if you haven't been here at the Nationals, this is, or even a regional or a big shoot to watch these pros where you get to go out and shoot those targets and then go watch them. You can learn a lot just by watching them, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that what you just said and listening to what Anthony said, it's very important and valid. Like you do. The reason why I asked Anthony the question of like how motivating is it to you to have somebody like Brandon just absolutely dominate, because I talked to Anthony a lot about that, he has such a good outlook on it, which is that like it's good because it's motivating me. It's going to make me better. I'm going to work harder, and I'm being pushed. And the best competitors, that's the mindset that they have.
Sure.
And and so, like with how some of them are notably, looking at what Brandon's doing to try to take that and put that into their own game. It's a huge compliment to Brandon, and at the same time, the best thing that they can do, I hope, is to not emulate, but to take and adapt it for themselves. Because it was cool to listen to Anthony talk about what he had taken from George and Brandon, and how that fits into his game. It's not a replication of that thing, but it is somewhat of, you're taking it and you're using it a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of like what I'm doing with the NSCA footage today.
Well, I don't think we're going to get anybody, David. I think we're going to run out of time here. I mean, we've been on for about 2 hours now.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, we can always do one with Brandon. Here's the thing about TCN is I'd like it not to just be at the shoots, and so we can always do a full length thing with Brandon one day.
Yeah,
and I'm sure he would be more than happy to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure of it. But just a little teaser, some of the footage that Sean and I got today, we're going to use over on the Dead Pair podcast. We're going to have David on and Chad and kind of discuss all this. through our Scoops program that we do on YouTube. So you're going to get to see a lot of this footage. As far as the Champions Network goes, like David said, we're going to try and incorporate some of this stuff in between shoots. So hopefully you'll see something soon with that, David. I mean, we'll do our best, and we'll let you know on social media when we can put that together. I know we're planning some, we have a minimum of 5 shoots we've planned for 2025, but we're looking to add to that. Understand, and I hope some of you have seen the behind-the-scenes pictures we threw up on social media, but there's a lot going on here, and we have a lot more planned, and a lot of equipment, a lot of money. So I can't keep going on David's budget forever. He won't be able to feed his poor dog. So, in fact, I even caught him twice. Oh, I haven't fed her today. So that poor dog.
Well, there's been days I've had to take her food for myself so that I can pay for all this stuff.
Well, that explains your breath the other day.
Yeah,
I thought
it
it smelled like little kibbles.
Why
and
do you
bits.
think I have myself so sequestered over here in the corner?
You don't want anybody to smell your kibbles and bits.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But this has been a lot of fun, and I hope everybody got something out of it. I hope everybody at home has enjoyed this. Tell your friends about it. We'd like to have more of you join us each and every time. David, when this will be back up on the website by tomorrow morning, you think?
I'm going to try to do it as soon as we're off here, so it should be immediately, I think, pretty much.
And we got one comment just came in. Lewis Class says, enjoyed the weekend coverage. Thanks, guys. Well, hey,
thank all of you.
Yeah,
honestly, thank all of you.
Absolutely. Thank all of you.
I got to say, honestly, the goal was, in order to create a community and hopefully build it, is to specifically keep all of this on our website. I don't want it being on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and all of these different places where there's an unmanageable interaction and different groups of people. I want to build something, and I keep saying but we've talked about this a lot, and we want to build something where we over time create a community of people, and we all feel like we are part of that together. And so by doing that, I knew how much of a bottleneck that would create for viewers and accessibility for some people, and sometimes it can get confusing to figure out how to get there. But I will say that we're 10xing my expectations, honestly. And so that goes to nobody else other than all of you guys. And so myself, Jason, Julia, we're all honestly so very thankful for you guys because I don't feel like I'm speaking out of my way when I say that the whole point of this is for all of you. Am I right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, literally, that is what spurred all of this. It's just how can we take the fun that we have at shoots and bring it to those of you who aren't able to come, and then create something that has a life longer than being done on the Sunday of the tournament. We want these moments in time to last longer, and so that comes, it's for you guys, and that's why we love the interaction, the engagement, and the feedback. And trust us when we tell you, if you can't tell by the banter that we give each other back and forth, we have very thick skin. Sometimes the problem is that our skin is so thick that we don't take real criticism seriously, and we think it's humor. So seriously, we want to make this better for all of you, so tell us what you want, tell us what you don't like, tell us what is missing, and reach out to us, and because that's the whole point. So I would say thank all of you so much. Thank you, Jason, and Sean's not here. I would thank him, but I think maybe his head is big enough too. So
it's almost as big as yours.
It's getting there. So
yes.
Let's give him a little insults when we're done with this. We can tell him that he was bad, so we have to fire him or something. But
oh man! Well, listen, everybody at home. I heard it all around the courses all week long, and I'm going to try to peel the lab coat off of Mr. Radulovich over here, and maybe get the website a little less encryptive.
It should be that way now. Actually, that's all gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard a lot about that this weekend.
Yeah. Well, that was the point.
They like the easy button, David.
Yeah. Exactly.
The KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. So, but no, we're going to continue to improve. I mean, we continue to learn every time we light these cameras up and the mics go hot. It's no different than all the podcasts that Sean and I have done. We still learn every time the mics go hot, and we're going to continue to get better on this. Hopefully bring you some more shooting action, live coverage at these events, and obviously keep continuing to bring the winners and not even just the winners, the juniors, everybody, get them up here in front of the camera and get the personalities to you at home so it makes you feel like you're there.
Yeah.
And keep reminding yourselves you have a way to ask questions to these pros and the juniors and everybody that we have on the show. Right there in the chat room, ask all the questions you want. David, I think we better get going.
I'd say so.
I think Sean told me before he left here he was so hungry his stomach was going to eat a hole in his spine. He's going to fall over in his chair. So we need to go get him some dinner. You need to feed your dog, and I need to get something to drink because I feel like I can blow dust bubbles.
I mean, I'm literally going to find a hose outside and put it in my mouth and turn it on. I'm so thirsty.
I know.
I also, before we go, I want to say thank you to the NSCA because how cool is this that somewhat poetically at the start of hopefully a change to the game, we're in the building where all of the history is. So that's very cool. And the fact that they were able to do this for us, set it all up, we have been hopefully not a pain in the butt to everybody that's working here, having to have them come in and lock the building and everything. But thank everybody, thank you all at the NSCA for allowing us to do this. Thank you for allowing us to use the footage. I'm not so sure I asked for permission on that one, but we did. Thank you. But it's all in promotion of that. So what I would say is if you're watching, go follow the NSCA. Send a message to everybody over there and thank them for doing this because what they're doing for the sport right now is what we need. And that's what we're here trying to basically piggyback off of and push it forward and promote it. So I don't have anything else to say. What about you?
I just want to tell Julia, we hope we carried the torch the best we could. Sean Alley tried very hard to fill your shoes. Unfortunately, he broke your high heels, but it was hilarious seeing him in them. But
I probably blew somebody's eardrums out for that.
Yeah, look, we had Haley Satterwhite helping us. We had Sean helping us. David and I tried our best, and we still couldn't fill your position while you were gone. So we desperately need
the boss back.
We need the boss back. But thank you to Julia. I know she's supporting us from home the best she can. Thank you to all of you. And until next time, we'll see you all back here on the Champions Network.
Adios.